the Salvia Super Supplement on the Wednesday Mind Emission Edition. Salvia Divinorum. Salvia has to be understood as a more holistic or global experience than just, say, getting high on salvia. Although salvia will get you very high. You can be quite comfortable with that. Salvia is quite consistent in some respects across its dosages. In other aspects, it can be very, very different. The oral form is quite different than the smoked form, and in the intensities that you use it. And some people combine the oral and smoked form for sort of the best of both. I find the oral form in moderately high doses can give one the most erotic imaginable musical experience. My experience of music, my listening experience, the music itself becomes so overwhelmingly erotic. I feel that I am literally floating in a lake of glowing, pure, erotic energy. It's just indescribably erotic. And that's cool. When you go up to the really, really high dose, 50x smoked, you are basically completely pulled out of this reality, and you are sent into some kind of hyperorbital speed. You're out there for a brief and controlled amount of time, and then you return quite safely. And I have a few caveats about that. But as my experience has been, and I think this is consistent with some of the research that I've been reading, some of the serious research, that salvia appears, at least in some cases, or my case, to have beneficial, I believe very beneficial, long-term effects on the clarity of my thinking, on the reduction of my obsessivity and my compulsivities, and I believe that is consistent with what has been expected of it, is reducing the number of D2 dopamine receptors. Kappa, other forms of kappa agonists that have been experimented with, using experimentally on animals, seem to cause the body to trim back on some of these dopamine receptors, which are associated with compulsive or kind of unreflective, automatic, or some might even describe as addictive, repetitive behaviors. I do feel definitely less automatic, less compulsive, less Pavlovian, less knee-jerky, and more kind of coming from my reflective, considered, well integrated into social reality self. I will give you one bit of warning. I read on the internet, I located one case of an individual who did apparently become frankly and severely schizophrenic after an experience of salvia. One documented case that I could find. The presupposition that the attending psychiatrists had is that this person had a strong and yet, I suppose, unrevealed tendency to schizophrenia, and this was enough to put this person into a fairly hard to treat long-term schizophrenic condition. Now that's one known case. So I would say that you must take into account that in certain states, certain mental conditions, and perhaps schizophrenia is a special exception to this, salvia might be very poorly advised, and it might be possible that you wouldn't know that until you'd taken the salvia. However, there have not, to my knowledge, the best of my knowledge, been a large number or a number of emergency room admissions, or there haven't been a lot of documented severe psychological aberrations that you do see with other drugs, with people even on cannabis, and I know I'm going to get some real heat from my little hate mailers out there, but yeah, I've been hearing about people self-admitting into San Francisco General Hospital out there in California from the effects of the overuse of ultra-potent cannabis. So, drugs, chemicals, cognitive aids, and consciousness aids should be used cautiously and with wisdom, and not recklessly, and just as forms of random recreational mind-blowing. Having said all that, my experience with salvia, my personal experience, is it appears to be a significant pro-sanity, pro-sanity botanical substance. It moves my mind away from automaticity. It moves my mind away from unreflected, unthinking, sort of primitive ego responses to more reflective, integrated, multi-dimensional responses. So I have responded very well to it. You must, of course, take responsibility for your own well-being and be aware of, that there are in all cases, in some specific cases, there could be a potential downside. So there is something, and you might want to look into that on certain forums have a lot of discussion about the very, very technical aspects of kappa receptor science and people who are experimenting and studying the kappa receptor very closely. So the stuff's out there, and I think this is a very, very exciting area of pharmacological research, psychological research, psychopharmacological research that could really, truly bring us a transformative class of medicines is in the offing here.